Hi, everyone. I'm Autistic Ange. This is a podcast for adults who recently found out they're autistic and are looking for other autistic people like them. I know in previous episodes, I have mentioned that, I'm not trying to complain or anything like that. Well, this episode, the whole point is to complain, but I don't want it, please don't take it negatively. I'm not trying to make this into a negative episode, but I was thinking about some things, and I also was thinking about how very rarely have I mentioned these things to people and had somebody agree with me. These are just complaints about what I think are rational things that people should figure out better solutions for, but I thought there's got to be, you guys, I know will understand some of these complaints. So I guess I'm just doing this episode because, A, it would be fun to complain about stuff to people who would understand. And B, I hope that you guys can relate. And maybe if you've never heard anybody agree with you on some of these things, if you feel the same way, there's somebody out there that does. So I made a list. Sorry, I have my water at the ready. Dry mouth isn't too bad, but it's there. And I made a decision to do I don't like the word series, but I don't know, every so often I would like to do a complaint train episode, but not to bring anybody down. So anyways, I will get started. The reason why this, what got me thinking about doing an episode like this was yesterday. This is just a normal complaint. The rest are normal complaints too. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. But anyways, I'll start with my Wegmans grocery shopping trip. Oh my God. Do I sound autistic right now? I sure think so. All right, so yesterday, let me just back up a little bit. My wife is in graduate school, and this week she starts her internship. Excuse me, sorry about that. So before, she had Mondays off for her regular job, and she worked Tuesday through Saturday. So I like having the Mondays because it's just the start of the week to me. So having her home on a Monday when I'm trying to get started to my week, it's just not very conducive to maintaining my routine all the time. So she was able to get it to where her internships aren't going to be these crazy hours, or her internship hours aren't going to be crazy. She'll be able to add what she does for work into what she's interning for. And also on Mondays, now she goes in for 4 hours to a completely different department in the building that she works to learn about that stuff. So I guess what I'm just saying is I have my Mondays back for the most part. I'm super happy about that. So my first complaint is, having said all that, I offered to my wife, I said, now you're only going to get 1 day off a week. You're only getting Sundays off. And Mondays have been where we either do Instacart or we just go to the store. So I told her that I am more than happy to just do the grocery shopping, whether that's Instacart or going in person, depending on how the funds are for that pay period. And she's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, because I do want to do this. How do I say this? I don't want to do it, but I do, only because I know that it will make her life easier, which is enough motivation for me to do this thing. So, and I mean it. I just told her that when you're done with your internship, which is going to be the whole fucking year, I don't want to be the sole grocery shopper anymore, but I'm pretty sure that after a year, that's just going to be my role, which, whatever, that's fine. So I thought it was a good idea, for whatever reason, to go yesterday, which was a Sunday. And I know what going to the stores on Sundays are like, but once in a while when I do go on a Sunday, I always think to myself, maybe it won't be so bad at the store. and I'm always wrong, but we needed stuff. And yesterday was my wife's only day off, so I went to the store. She enjoyed a leisurely walk at a park near us while I was battling it out with the fucking people in the grocery store. So what happened was I get there, and when I get up to the building to go to where the carts are, there's like the smaller carts for like just a few things, and then the bigger carts for like a normal like shopping trip. And when I got up there, all that was there was a handful of the small carts, and I had a lot of stuff to get. So immediately I started freaking out. So what I could have done was go back to the parking lot in those little cart corral areas and just grabbed a bigger one. But I didn't do it because I was like, I'm not going to go back to the parking lot and go get one. I don't know why. I just thought that was like going to be embarrassing. So I just grabbed a small cart and hoped for the best. And there were so many goddamn people there. So many people, everywhere, standing in the middle of the fucking aisles talking. Like, this isn't a place to go to, especially on a Sunday, and just stand in the middle of the fucking aisles and like have a chit chat with somebody that you probably saw 2 days ago. Like, that's what phones are for. Text them or go off onto the side of the store by a corner or the wall or something like that. Like, how hard is it to just be considerate that there are other people trying to get their shit and you're in the way? But it was just a disaster. I was just freaking out in my head, but trying to look normal. And I ended up missing a few things off my list, and then also missing a few other things off my list on purpose because I was not about to go back for them, because I am not the kind of person that shops by the order of how I don't know how to explain all this. But anyways, my shopping is just bizarre because I'm used to my wife doing it or me shopping online. So like when I go in person, I just go up and down the aisles because I don't know where everything is. I don't go that regularly. But oh God, I was just like, I have my list. I had this tiny ass fucking cart with like water in it and milk and like stuff that I had to hold from like toppling over. So I'm like pushing this cart all around the store, holding the stuff on there. It was embarrassing. And then I was like thinking to myself, why am I struggling? Why didn't I just go back and get a bigger cart? Like, what the fuck? Now, like, I can't get everything because it won't fit. And I'm not the kind of person to go back to the entrance to a store and then park my cart or whatever, like before I walk out of the store to go see if there's any open carts. Like, I didn't want to go do that. I don't know why. I just was like, maybe they're going to think I'm going to steal the food or something. You know, anxiety, like, it was so bad. It just was making me think crazy things. So it was like 45 minutes in that fucking place. And then I get home and I put the stuff that needs to be in the fridge and the freezer away. And then I go into the bedroom. I lay down in front of the fan because breezes calm me down. And I had surgical menopause. So I'm getting like hot flashes all the fucking time. And they get worse, I've noticed, with my anxiety. So that's great. But yeah, I had been laying down for like 5 minutes, and then my wife gets home from her walk, and I was like, can I please complain to you without you feeling guilty about this? Because she would. Like, I do too. Like, if we do things for each other and the other person had some difficult time doing whatever the thing is, the other person usually feels guilty. So I was like, please don't feel guilty. I just need to get this off my chest. And I told her how the store was. And she was understanding, and she said she did not feel guilty, which is good. And I felt better after like an hour. I mean, some of this is kind of just funny because like it's a shopping trip. Again, I'm just doing a normal human being thing. Like, humans go to the store. And I feel like a lot of the times when I'm talking to you guys about like my people issues, it's just pretty much always at a store. You know, you can't avoid people forever, I guess. But so anyways, I knew I was going to have to go back to Wegmans today, and I did. I just got back, and I'm going to just return to either doing Instacart on Saturdays and Sundays, or depending on where our money's at, just go in person to the store on Monday, because there was like barely anybody there, which is how I like it. And I only had a few things to get, but I got a big cart anyways, just in case. But it was a nightmare yesterday. But these other complaints are just things that like I think about on a fairly regular basis. Some of them I've thought this for years. Oh, here comes the water. So we'll just get started. Did I tell you I made a list? Well, I did. Excuse me. I think you heard that sniff. Sorry if I sound like I'm on crack. I'm really not. I just have like all this energy for whatever reason. Anyways, so stupid marketing ploys. Those are annoying. Like those medication commercials. I'm still baffled by the fact that people fall for this shit, because if they didn't, why would they keep showing commercials about medications where there's like some couple that's like smiling and like throwing their kids up in the air and having a great old time, and at the same time they're talking about you could have suicidal thoughts or ideation or lightheadedness or nausea, and like they're talking about all the negative things about the medication that you could experience while they're hoping that you'll just pay attention to the smiling faces on the TV. Like, who the fuck still falls for this shit? Can't we just put a disclaimer out there that says the majority of medications will have side effects? Like, because the side effects don't seem to be that different between medications. There's always, not always, but it just seems like there's the potential for suicidal thoughts or depression or memory, you know what I mean? Memory issues. Just stop with the fucking like commercials that are trying to swindle people. Wasteful packaging. I talked about this with Amazon, but this is like with everything, like cereal boxes, bags of chips. Like, unless I'm missing something, like, why do you have to have a bag of chips and only half of it's full and the other half is air? Like, do you need to have all that air in there? Are you really still thinking that? Because I had read years ago that because I know like not very much about the whole marketing world, but that if something looked bigger but was cheaper, people would think they were getting more or whatever. And so after a couple of years of that, like when they, after they had been doing it for a while with like all kinds of different products, it was like, okay, we get it. Now, can you just go back to not wasting resources and making packages, like making boxes and bags of stuff big enough to just fit what's in the box instead of have all the extra space? Do you know what I mean? Like, who still thinks they're buying a bag of chips and there's really that much chips in there? Like, you can shake the fucking bag and the chips are hitting the top. Like, it's not a packed bag. I don't know. It's just wasteful. And because I think about lots of things, and one of the things I always think about is, when are we going to run out of resources? Like, aren't we going to run out of trees to cut down? Because trees take a while to grow. Aren't we going to run out of that? Like, aren't we going to run out of paper or stuff? Like, I don't understand how that works. But I do know that, it just seems so wasteful to sell a bag of chips where where only half of the bag is filled with chips, just so you can fool people to make them pay more for less. Yeah, will I buy a bag of chips if I want? Yeah, but I'm not thinking I'm getting more. I just, whatever. That's annoying. The layout of some stores makes no sense to me. God, I think I've talked about this before. Like, I don't know what people are thinking when they're designing a layout of a store, because sometimes it's just like you can tell if I don't know if this is a nice thing to say. I just feel like autistic people like know what they're doing with a lot of things. And so when something doesn't seem right, I automatically think that was an ordinary person behind that. Like the layout of a store, that doesn't make sense. like the ones where the aisles are too small or you only have just enough room to like get past the other person with your cart. And I think what's most annoying is the checkout lines because like, yeah, I do think I've talked about this before. Like, make the fucking checkout lines bigger and, like, make it so that if there's long lines, like during the holidays and stuff, you don't have people backing up into, like, a good portion of the rest of the store, if that makes sense. I don't know. Because they're in front of people. They're blocking everybody. I don't, and then I think about, okay, so, like, this store has to have been here for years. This layout was probably like this, I mean, ever since I've been going, so years. And it doesn't seem to work, but they still have it the same. Why? Money? Are you too lazy? You don't know any better? Yeah, so that's kind of annoying. What else can I complain about? Stupid movies. Oh, and I just want to say, like always, I'm not trying to offend anybody because I'm sure some of the stuff I say is going to offend somebody that doesn't agree, but I'm not trying to do that. This is just my opinions. And there's probably people out there, you guys are probably like, well, I know why this happens, but I don't. The stuff I'm talking about, like, I don't get why they do these things most of the time. But yeah, stupid movies. Oh my God, I spend so long trying to find a movie to watch. And I am not a movie watcher for that reason. Like, it's just like you have to commit like an hour and a half, 2 hours to sit down and I don't know. I mean, you can pause it and shit, but I'm just not like a movie person. Also because there's a lot of crappy movies out there. Like, why are people still making shitty fucking movies? Why are there like good actors reading scripts that think that that's a good script they're reading and then that's a good movie? Like the overall story is good enough for them to want to sign on up to star in that movie. To me, shitty movies are on IMDb, anything less than a rating of 6. To me, that's a shitty movie. My personal standards, I don't watch anything under a 7. Unless like it's by like it's an actor I really, really like or something. But like I will not watch anything under a 7 because that means that like even if it's a 6.8, it's like, nope. There's just almost enough effort to meet my standards in this movie, but not enough people who have rated this so far have felt like it's quite up to par. So no, I'm not going to watch it. If it's a 6.8, 6.9, even if it's an actual 7, I like 7.5 or above because again, like I don't like wasting my time watching stupid bullshit. But really, like why are people making stupid fucking movies? Do they not know they're stupid when they're making them? Do they not care? Like you're going to be remembered for making a movie like this. And then the actors who are the famous ones, like they're going to be remembered for starring in these stupid movies. But then that leads me into another thought, like, well, if they still keep getting made, that means that there is definitely an audience for stupid movies out there. So do people watch these movies knowing that they're stupid and laugh at them, or do they really, really fucking enjoy them? Because it sounds like they really enjoy them. And in that case, I'm probably just being a judgmental person, like always. But, like, really, it shouldn't take so fucking long to try to find a movie that has a good rating. What else can I complain about? In high school, I don't know if they still do this, but like when I was going to high school, you could work with a calculator on your homework for math, but like you couldn't use it during a test. And I never understood that. Like, why would you say that we could use it for the homework, but not for the test? So you want us to know how to write out all the work just for the test, but it doesn't really matter all that much for the homework? Like, I never got that. Like, why wouldn't you let people use calculators? Not to mention, like, if there's something that makes something else easier to do, why wouldn't you just stick with that thing that makes it easier to do? So like calculators make it easier to do math. So if you have a device that can do all kinds of math for you, why do you need to know it yourself? Like, why do you need to know how to do it without a calculator is what I'm saying. What's the point? I just think that's stupid, especially because, like, who the fuck is using algebra right now? Unless they're teaching it or something, or doing some science-y kind of job. I don't really get that. Yesterday I was listening to a podcast. Actually, I'll tell you the name of it if I can remember. What's it called? It's called You Don't Sound Autistic. I just recently came across this. I think I'm like 3 episodes in. It's a husband, wife, and the husband he's autistic, and the wife, she's an ordinary person. And it's interesting because I haven't found another podcast like this that has like a married couple on there, like talking about how one's autistic and the other's not. And like, it's just interesting to get like a viewpoint of an ordinary person married to an autistic person. But one of the things they were talking about on one of their episodes yesterday was having read an article, or like research or something stating that babies don't feel pain. And like, yeah, I'm going to complain about that because that was an actual belief. Like, I guess a good portion of people believed that babies don't feel pain up until like recently or a handful of years ago, according to the podcast. I don't get that. Who the fuck really thinks that babies don't feel pain? Like, they cry. Like, they cry if they're distressed in any way emotionally or physically, or, you know, like they're hungry, they'll cry. Like, that's a form of pain. Like, if you pinched a baby, the baby would start fucking crying. How is that not a baby feeling pain? Like, I get their brains are small, maybe they don't really know what's going on, but they kind of do, but they won't remember it maybe, but they do in the moment know what's going on. And I don't understand that. Who the fuck, like, really, there was a whole bunch of people that thought this way. Moving right along to water bottle lids, Gatorade lids. Like, why do they have to be sealed so tight that I have to go to the can opener that I have screwed underneath my cabinet? One of those ones that I don't know how to explain it. But anyways, why do I have to use that to open like a fucking Gatorade bottle? I'm not weak, like that weak. So that I don't understand. I like to drink Fruit 2O water. In the last few weeks I've gotten it, there's been 1 bottle of water missing. So you get like 4 flavors and you get 5 bottles of each flavor. In the last few weeks, I have gotten 3 flavors with 5 bottles and 1 flavor with 4 bottles. So maybe it could be like, an issue in the packaging facility or whatever. But like, I am so distrustful of people that like my mind went to, okay, there's people that have to stock this item in the back and then bring it into the main store to refill the shelves. Like, I'll bet somebody's just reaching in there and grabbing a bottle thinking that nobody's going to notice because there's like 19 other bottles in that package. Because I don't know, how's that possible? Like 3 weeks in a row, like, I don't understand how that mistake could be made over and over. I don't know. That's just where I went to. So that's annoying. Like, I paid for 20 bottles, not 19. And Fruit 2O water is not cheap. Solicitors. I don't know if that's what they're called in America, even though I live here. But like, I've lived overseas a good portion of my life. I lived in Japan for like 18 years. I lived in England for 5 years, and I know they're called solicitors, the people that come to your house to like convince you to like buy something or do something. So I just refer to them as solicitors. I don't know what they're called here. They're fucking annoying. Like, I don't know how people have the balls to still go up to other people's houses and knock or ring the doorbell and hope that somebody answers, and they're okay, like, if they're told to go away. Like, I don't like solicitors. When I was in my 20s and I was stationed over in England, I lived off base, and I'm not proud of this, but like, I usually would ignore anybody coming to the house that I wasn't expecting. But like one day, I just think I was in a mood, and there were solicitors. I knew that's who was out there, and they were like Jehovah's Witnesses. And I told them that, like, I thought that I was the devil and that I'm evil and I'm gonna put, like, spells on them. I don't know what the fuck else I said. I wasn't drunk or anything like that. I was in my 20s and I was, like, looking for a confrontation. They didn't like that. So I didn't feel bad about that. But would I do that now? Fuck no. Fuck no, would I do that? You know what I do now when somebody comes to the door? Sometimes if I'm in a mood, I will open the door because I know it's a solicitor person on the other side trying to sell me something. And as soon as I see that clipboard, I open the door and I say, no, thank you. And I shut the door. And then I watch to make sure they don't slash my tires on the way out. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm okay doing that now, but I would never start something with somebody. But, like, my complaint is stop doing that. Like, stop going to people's houses and fucking, like, knocking on the doors. There's COVID. Like, the world is a different place now. Just don't do it. Just stop. Like, it's annoying as fuck. That's what the internet is for. Advertise your bullshit on there. What else can I complain about? So, my wife, she already knows I think these things. Uh-oh, I heard dry mouth. Sorry. She already, like, this is not news to her, but I like to talk about, so, the movie thing again. Like, I think I mentioned before that, like, the TV shows she watches, they're, like, all competition shows. The majority of what she watches are competition shows. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm not saying that it's weird that that's all she's watching. I mean, maybe not all show, also all show. What the fuck? Also, watches Disney stuff. Maybe I should try to talk a little bit slower. Yeah, so we have completely different taste in things. And the way that I put it to her last night, because we couldn't find a movie to watch, and so I was like, let's try White Lotus. Like, we're the kind of people that, well, at least I'm the kind of person that, like, if a show's been out and it's been super popular, like, I'll hear about it. I won't read any articles about it or anything like that. And I guess I don't know why I just don't get around to watching whatever this new thing is until, like, sometimes years later. Like, The Walking Dead, when we got laid off, it was I want to say it was, like, in its 5th or 6th season, and we hadn't watched any episodes up to that point. So when we were unemployed, we just went through, like, 5 or 6 seasons. And after that, I was like, how the fuck did I not watch this sooner? So anyways, I've been hearing stuff about White Lotus. And after a couple of episodes, like, I like it because it's dark humor that's actually funny. And the cringe, oh my God, it is so bad. It is such a cringy show. It is so good because, I mean, that's a whole other tangent. But anyways, I just think it's a very clever show. And it's, I think, 2 seasons out now. Didn't the second one just, like, end? And so we finally got around to it, and my wife, after 2 episodes, she's like, I don't like this. She's like, you can watch it on your own. I don't like it. It's too awkward. It's too cringy. And I'm like, well, that's the whole point. Because, like, they'll show things on that show that actually happen. Like, I mean, for those of you who've seen it, when they, like, where there's, like, the beginnings of, like, the sex scenes, and then the camera pans out of the room, but then just kind of hangs out in the doorway, and that's what you're watching for, like, a couple of minutes. And it's so fucking awkward because, like, the scene is supposed to have ended, and now you just feel like you're a voyeur. Like, it's so bad it's good to me. I don't know. The fact that people can capture cringe like that and write it and act it, it's just very, very clever, and my wife doesn't like it, and I'm like, you're totally missing the point, but whatever. And Adam Driver did this movie a few years back called Patterson. I liked it. I thought I just really appreciate good acting, and I appreciate slow burners and scenes that really make you watch these characters. Anyways, my wife did not like it. She did not see the point. How can you not like these good things that I like? How are you missing the point? I know people are different. They have their own like preferences and stuff, but I feel like I watch smart things and that she doesn't. And I told her that. I know that's a mean thing to say, and it's like probably not true, but I feel like it kind of is, because I am not going to waste my time watching competition shows, because what am I getting out of that? I do watch them, but that's not all I watch. That's like 10% of what I watch, because I want to see good acting, good stories. Anyways, this is just a complaint. Like, how is it possible that there's people that don't appreciate good art? Because acting is art. Anyways, oh God. What else? There's that magazine called, I think it's called the National Enquirer. I heard that dry mouth. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I think it's called the National Enquirer. It's those magazines that, like, when you go up to check out, they're the ones in the cheap paper, like, talking about fucking aliens on the front cover. Like, the whole newspaper is just bullshit. And I still see newspapers like that. Like, who the fuck is still buying this shit and reading it? Who's believing this? Like, I mean, has anybody ever, like, flipped through a whole newspaper of, like, the National Enquirer? I think it's called that. Don't quote me. I'm not very good with, like, remembering stuff like that, but you guys know what I mean. Like, it's those, like, little newspapers that open, I don't know how to describe it, but it's all bullshit. It's all lies. And, well, at least 90% is all lies. And why are people still buying this? Because they have to be if they're still being sold. I'm not spending like $2.99 on stuff that's not real. I don't get it. I thought everybody knew that stuff wasn't real. Why are they still buying it? So that's annoying. Authors who don't narrate their own audiobooks. Why? Like, it is so disappointing when I want to get the audiobook from an author and I see that they're not the ones that narrated it. I don't mind it so much if it's an author I don't know, but the ones I do know, like, I'm not going to listen to the audiobook unless they narrated it, because that's just weird to me. It's weird to hear somebody else reading a book, like, especially like a memoir, and it's like they're reading the memoir, but it's not the actual author, it's somebody else. Like, it's just weird. I don't like it. Don't do that. Just fucking narrate your own books. Like, just do it. If you have time to write the fucking book, you can find more time to narrate it, like, on audiobook. I don't get it. Peanuts, like, you know, when you go to bars, I have not been to a bar in so many years, but I still see on TV, like, different shows where they have the fucking bowl of peanuts in the bar that everybody's, like, eating from. And I know it's just TV, but, like, if they're still showing that, that must be still happening in real life at bars. Who the fuck is still, especially in the era of COVID, putting food in a bowl on a bar, and so many dirty ass fingers are fucking, like, eating from it. And, oh God, why? That's fucking gross. Who's still doing this? Oh, not good. My wife got, I think she had gotten, like, some t-shirts, she got some new clothes, like a week or two ago. One of them had, like, an actual tag that you, like, a tag that you would have to cut if you were autistic. And I saw that, and I haven't seen a physical tag on a shirt in so long, because they're all stamped on there now, because I can guarantee without any evidence that autistic people are the ones that somebody that was autistic came up with putting a stamp for a tag and getting rid of, like, the physical, because it's just fucking annoying scratching your neck and shit. And I saw that and I'm like, who the fuck is still making shirts like this? Like, it's not just, like, you know, for sensory, yeah, I don't know. Words are starting to fail me. I guess I'm just trying to say, like, who the fuck is still putting tags in t-shirts? Like, stamp that shit in there. And then the last complaint I have for today is I feel that sidewalks, even in front of the house that you have been paying for, the sidewalk is considered public property. Like, I get it and I don't. I really think it should just be the person's like property that owns the house. So for example, I think that for as wide as my house is, I should have that same amount of sidewalk. So however much sidewalk goes in front of my house is what I should be able to claim as my own. I should also be able to claim the curb. So can people walk down the sidewalk? Sure, I don't mind if you walk down the sidewalk. That's fine. But can you park on the curb in front of my house? No. That's not your fucking curb. That's mine. It's in front of my house. I just don't like it. I think that should be included in the purchase of a house, is the sidewalk and the curb. Because it kind of feels like it's your property anyways, but it's considered public. I don't think that's fair. That's all I got for today. That kind of felt nice. Sorry if I was all over the place or I don't know. I just apologize all the time because I don't know. That was kind of fun though. Don't you guys feel the same way about some of this stuff? I know you do. It's just, it's nice to hear other people have the same gripes, because for example, I would, with ordinary people, I would make the comment about why can't you use calculators on tests in high school? At least when I went, I don't know what it's like now, like I said, because I'm fucking old. But I mentioned that to ordinary people and they always have some response oh, well, those are good skills to have. So the calculator is just for assistance, but you should really be able to do all that work in your head. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? What else? Peanuts and bar. I don't know. I mention these things to ordinary people and they always have a response that they think makes sense about why this thing is still happening. And it doesn't make sense. Why do you think that makes sense to you? I could just keep going about how ordinary, I could just go into a very judgmental tangent, and that's not who I want to be or what I want to do, even though I kind of want to do it, but that's rude. I've done enough complaining and judging in this episode. Email me if you can relate, maybe. That would be good. I would appreciate that. And also, like I said, I'm going to do these every so often because it's just fun. I'm not trying to bring anybody down. I just want to say this stuff out loud and know that there's people listening that fucking get it, that they get it. And hopefully one day in real life, in person, I'll be able to say most of these things to this person and they'll also agree because they understand. And it's logical, and what I say makes sense. Anyways, that's all I've got. Hopefully this was relatable. This was just me recording to an app on my phone, hoping people find it, listen, relate, and have a similar experience to the one I had when I heard myself on somebody else's podcast for the very first time. Thanks for listening if you're still here, and goodbye.